Hey everybody, my name is Joel with Ecosuite. Today we're going to be demoing our Forge application. Yeah, just going to lead with some setup items, right? So, key thing, got to get data into the Ecosuite. So, projects and portfolios are kind of the core aspects in terms of how we categorize data. We've got the ability to create a new project manually. We also have the ability to bring in projects from a CRM. You'll see here an integration we've built with Salesforce. Now we've got a lot of data in the Ecosuite. Currently about 200 assets being tracked here across various product types. It's obviously important to be able to distill this down into subsets of projects. You'll see here this drop down represents some pre-configured portfolios. Also have the ability to just kind of filter in real time. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll select generation rooftops that are active, and let's go ahead and do interconnection through construction. So a nice list of 16 assets here. Now we're in the data module, and this is kind of where it all emanates from, right? The data and the ways that we view it as users. What are some of the ways that we can engage with and see this data? You'll see here I'm on the what we call, again, data module, what we call the projects view up here. Right off the bat, just kind of a useful list of data points. We can download it as a CSV or JSON file. We have built an integration with Google Suite. You'll see here an API which pulls out a custom subset of data points. What's cool about this is it allows you to get your hands on it in sort of unique ways without messing with kind of the source of truth. We also have an integration with Jupyter notebooks with the same credentials associated with your Ecosuite login. You can go ahead and get your hands on your data systematically. You'll also notice this milestone dates button here. This is a manual way to sync dates associated with these projects, the kind of ultimate source of which will be very complex Gantt charts that live at the edges of our workflows. We abstract that here by soaking it up through an API. So not only can we sync it manually, but these daily updates will run no matter what. And here's an example of one that ran last night. So I've got 4 projects where dates have changed. I'm going to jump into a specific project now. You'll see the banner is black. That means I'm in a project versus a portfolio. All at the bottom, you'll see we have the ability to configure a Slack integration, which helps us communicate relevant project updates and statuses to the places that we look most. Let's say this project changed from new project to interconnection. Our Slack project channel, which we've configured in the Ecosuite, will get a notification from the Ecosuite that looks like this. Now the team knows, hey, it's time to pursue the various steps associated with that new status. The ability to sign up for these notifications is enabled for both internal users and external users. So it's the easiest way to keep your customers, for example, up to speed on what's going on with my project. I'm going to go ahead and hop into records. You can think of this like a functional data room. And one of the cool features is upload notifications, right? So I can go ahead and sign up for these notifications in a few different ways. I'm signed up for this project for immediate updates. I went ahead and created this demo record. So I'll go ahead and edit this record here. I can upload a document. I'm going to go ahead and create a design folder and select a helioscope design that I had up on my desktop. And sure enough, I'll pop this open for everybody to see. I just got this email. I can go ahead and preview that. Out pops this window with the file. Pretty cool. Here, I'll just quickly touch on the audit tab. As an admin, you'll have access to this. Anything changes, you'll know it. And then finally, in the data room here is the finance tab. Now, this is where we're going to configure some of the sort of edge complexity, right? Like our financial model or our Gantt chart or our accounting provider. In this instance, we're hooked up with our soft ledger integration, a Google Sheets financial model, and a Smart Sheets Gantt chart. All of this sort of pushes through to the economics module. Cool. So I'm over in the economics module for the same project here. And I'm going to start with the model. So the model that was configured back in the finance tab shows up here. We offered this model as a template to Ecosuite users. aspects that are useful and that sort of run through the entire Ecosuite are things like our chart of accounts, very bankable and industry standard kind of categorization of project costs. This model is connected to the endpoints within the Ecosuite through an API. And this API can be applied to any model that a user prefers to use. We also got a Smartsheets link, so we're able to actively pull the many dates that drive the cash flow assumptions in our model directly from the Gantt chart where our dates live. Then we also offer this connection off the shelf. The Gantt chart that I'm alluding to is here. Again, Smartsheets. Similarly to our models, we offer these Gantt charts as a template. They're complex. They're detailed as they need to be. It's connected through the Ecosuite, through the unique identifier that we call project code. What's cool is the model and the Gantt chart roll up to what is the corporate standard that we refer to as the IRR report. I currently am configured to see cash flow on a yearly basis, but I can configure that, quarterly, for example. I can set that up to just be the total. Now, I have very strong version control associated with these forecasts. It's important to know when we change assumptions. These versions will automatically version when a project changes status, but it can also be manually versioned. We also have the ability to look at economics through a few other different lenses here. You'll see anticipated, actual, LBE, which stands for last best estimate, and the difference between actual minus forecast. I'm just going to pull up the actual because this gives a sense of like, okay, I'm talking to your accounting system and I'm pulling through critical information. This can literally tell me, for example, if I click on total, what I've spent to date on this project. Now, I can dig deeper. If I opened up accounts, for example, I can see underneath my fixed assets or capital expenditures, well, what are the accounts associated with that? Revenue, expense, and so on and so forth. I could also break that down into sub-accounts, even more detailed. I'll go ahead and roll this up to a portfolio. I have the dashboard up. I get some high-level information that's really useful. This is acts like a functional report for these projects. For example, if I sorted this by grants, this project would come to the top because it's the only one with grant dollars. I also have this really neat tool called qualitative attributes, which helps users who are not familiar with this project understand some of the key risks. We have a whole handful of associated qualitative attributes. Now, the IRR report, as it is useful for projects, is similarly useful for portfolios. I'm going to go ahead and run this IRR report. You'll see here, same looking report. I've got forecasts and actuals up. In this case, I have it normalized, so you'll see it sorted by period. And within this IRR report is the ability to take that detailed information and break it down associated with the specific project in this portfolio that I've configured. So I'm going to go ahead over into the Forge module. One thing you can see here is a very simple view into our pipeline. Visual and sort of tabular, a great way to engage with customers and a handy way to see it internally. You can also see this through what we call the projection view, which basically shows a quarterly view, which is configurable based on this time range up here as to when projects will meet these certain milestones. And then the calendar view, right? This allows me to see certain milestones and payments, right? Very detailed information in a useful view, which allows me to sort of project out what's happening with projects and when. If I go ahead and click into a specific project, I'll also get a couple more tabs, and I'll just highlight here the checklist. This serves as a really functional diligence checklist as we head into very critical milestones, for example, NTP. These checklists are configurable. Like many of our other integrations, you can go ahead and import a checklist and kind of refine a checklist to your needs. Template looks like this and can be created for various states. imported directly here into the Ecosuite and managed along with relevant notes. Cool. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Hope this was helpful. So much to the Ecosuite, but this gives a sense of some of the really key features that help drive projects through the pipeline.